The large silver ship hung silently beyond Jupiter's orbit. Inside, Commander Zexithra stared at the blue planet on the main screen. Earth looked peaceful from this distance. Blue oceans, white clouds, and patches of green and brown land. Zexithra had been watching this world for nearly 3 years now. Any change in the readings? Zexithra asked, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Officer Meltor shook her head. Same as yesterday, Commander. We detect their primitive radio waves and television signals. Their satellites continue to orbit. Their space station moves as expected. Zexithra made a clicking sound with his mouth parts. This was the problem. The Kaltharan scout vessel had been monitoring Earth for too long with no clear answer. The High Council wanted results. Was this planet home to true sentient life, or just clever animals? The difference mattered greatly. Their spacecraft never leave their own moon's orbit, Zexithra noted. No sentient species stays so close to home. And look at their transmissions. Chaotic, disorganized. They fight each other constantly. These are not the actions of a unified, thinking species. But the structures, the cities, Officer Meltor asked. Many non-sentient species build complex structures. The coral reefs of Ganther Prime. The tunnel systems of the Rexilian burrowers. Structure alone does not prove sentience, Zexithra explained. The truth was, Zexithra was tired. This mission had taken too long already. The Kaltharan Empire needed new resources, new mining worlds. If Earth hosted only animals, it could be harvested. If it contained true sentient life, the Empire's laws required diplomatic contact before any resources could be taken. Send our final report to the High Council, Zexithra decided. The evidence for true sentience remains inconclusive. Based on our observations, we cannot confirm higher thinking capability. On the International Space Station, Major William Carter adjusted the Deep Space Telescope. Something had caught his attention 3 days ago, a small anomaly near Jupiter. Not a comet, not space debris. Something that seemed to change position in ways natural objects didn't. Getting anything new, Bill? Asked Dr. Samantha Phillips, floating into the observation module. Nothing conclusive. Whatever it was, it's gone now, William said, leaning back from the screen. Just like the last 2 times. Samantha looked at his data. As the station's exobiology specialist, she had an open mind about strange observations. 3 separate anomalies in the same region of space? That's not coincidence. NASA thinks it's equipment error, William said. They told me to recalibrate the sensors. And what do you think it is? Samantha asked. William hesitated. Off the record? I think someone's watching us. Samantha didn't laugh like his other colleagues had. Instead, she looked thoughtfully at the empty space where the anomaly had been. The universe is too big for us to be alone. But why would anyone watch without saying hello? Maybe they're deciding if we're worth talking to, William suggested. In the Grand Chamber of the Kaltharan High Council, 7 ancient Kaltharans reviewed the scout ship's report. Their skin was pale blue, almost white with age, and their 4 eyes had faded to a dull yellow. 3 cycles of observation, and still no definitive answer, said Council Leader Rek. We cannot wait any longer. The Empire needs Earth's resources. Council. Member Jith, the youngest among them, raised a hand. But if they are sentient and we harvest their world, we break our most sacred law. The report says there is no clear evidence of sentience, argued Council Member Draz. They show potential, yes, but their behavior is chaotic. They fight constant wars, they damage their own environment. These are not the actions of truly sentient beings. Breck nodded. And most importantly, they never tried to communicate with our scout ship. Any truly advanced species would have detected our presence and attempted contact. So we decide, Breck continued, based on the evidence presented, Earth is classified as pre-sentient, suitable for resource extraction. The mining fleet will depart immediately. 6 of the 7 council members raised their hands in agreement. Only Jith kept her hand down, a worried look on her face. In Houston, Texas, Samantha Phillips stood, nervously in front of the NASA review board. 5 serious faces looked back at her from across a long table. "Dr. Phillips, we've reviewed Major Carter's findings and your analysis," said Director Frank Moore. "While we appreciate your enthusiasm, we simply cannot justify allocating resources to investigate what is most likely sensor error." "Sir, with respect, these readings appeared 3 separate times," Samantha insisted. "Each time the object demonstrated non-natural movement patterns. It accelerated, changed direction, then disappeared. Space debris can appear to do strange things when our sensors misread them," said Dr. Patricia Wells, the lead astronomer, "especially near Jupiter's magnetic field." Samantha took a deep breath. What if it's not space debris? What if someone's out there? The room fell uncomfortably silent. "Dr. Phillips," Director Moore finally said, "NASA deals in science, not science fiction. We need hard evidence before we can pursue such extraordinary claims." Samantha left the meeting feeling defeated. In her office, she found William waiting. "No luck?" he asked, seeing her face. "They think I'm crazy," she said, dropping into her chair. "Maybe I am." William shook his head. "You're not crazy. I saw it too, remember? Something was out there, watching us." "And now it's gone," Samantha said. "Whatever it was, it left." "Maybe that's a good thing," William suggested. Samantha wasn't so sure. On the Caltharan homeworld, the mining fleet prepared for departure. 7 massive ships, each bigger than Earth's largest city, powered up their engines. These weren't exploration vessels or diplomatic ships. They were industrial machines designed to strip planets of valuable minerals quickly and efficiently. Fleet Commander Rax toured the lead ship one final time before departure. The massive drilling equipment, the refineries, the storage bays that could hold entire mountains of processed ore. Everything was ready. "The Earth operation will be simple," he told his officers. "The planet has no defense systems, no protective fleet. We will extract what we need and be gone before the natives even understand what's happening." His second-in-command, Officer Lana, reviewed the scout ship's report on her datapad. The report mentions some primitive flying machines and basic satellites. "Should we be concerned?" Commander Rax laughed. "Did you see their so-called spacecraft? Tiny metal cans that barely reach their own moon. Their satellites are like children's toys compared to our technology." "No, Officer Lana, we have nothing to fear from Earth." Little did he know how wrong he was. The Caltharan High Council had made a grave mistake. They had judged humanity by their own standards, looking for signs that mirrored their own development. They had expected humans to detect their cloaked ship and reach out. When that didn't happen, they assumed humans weren't capable. They hadn't considered that humans might see them and choose to watch silently in return. They hadn't considered that Earth's chaos might be a different form of strength. Most of all, they hadn't considered what would happen when a species that had survived countless disasters, wars, and challenges was suddenly threatened by outsiders. As the mining fleet departed, Commander Rax felt only excitement for an easy mission. Had no idea he was heading toward the biggest mistake in Caltharan history. The 7 massive Caltharan mining ships entered the solar system at high speed. They were each 5 miles long and shaped like arrowheads. Their dark metal hulls absorbed light rather than reflected it. As they passed Neptune, their engines slowed. By the time they reached Mars, they were moving at a speed that wouldn't crash them into Earth. Commander Rax stood on the bridge of the lead ship. He watched the blue planet grow larger on the main screen. Earth looked peaceful and unspoiled. Perfect for mining. The ship's computers had already identified the best locations for extraction: deep ocean floors, remote mountain ranges, and uninhabited deserts. "Prepare for standard orbit," Rax ordered. "Begin scans for the highest concentrations of iridium and palladium." "Commander," said Officer Lana, "should we maintain stealth shields?" Rax considered this for a moment. "No need. The natives won't understand what they're seeing anyway. Stealth systems use too much power. We'll need that energy for mining operations." The 7 ships moved into Earth orbit, their massive size creating gravitational disturbances. On Earth below, the effects were immediate and frightening. Kate Mills was walking her dog along the beach in California when the ocean suddenly pulled back, retreating almost half a mile. All around her, people stopped to stare. Some took out their phones to record the strange sight. Kate had seen enough disaster movies to know what was coming next. "Tsunami," she shouted, grabbing her dog and running for higher ground. "Everyone get off the beach now!" People began to run as a wall of water formed on the horizon. The wave wasn't massive, only about 15 feet high, but it was enough to flood coastal areas all along the Pacific coast. Similar events were happening worldwide. In Japan, Indonesia, Australia, and South America, unexpected waves crashed onto shores. Scientists were baffled. There had been no earthquakes, no underwater landslides, nothing to explain the sudden changes in Earth's oceans. In the newly formed United Space Defense Force headquarters, Colonel Gregory Hoffman was among the first to see the alien ships. The USDF had been created just 3 years earlier, after multiple countries reported strange objects near Jupiter. Most people thought it was a waste of money. Now, as 7 enormous vessels appeared in Earth orbit, Colonel Hoffman realized they hadn't spent nearly enough. "Get me the president," he said to his aide, "and contact every major space agency. I want all available telescope images of those things." Within an hour, leaders from around the world were in emergency meetings. Scientists struggled to understand what they were seeing. The ships were clearly artificial, clearly massive, and clearly not from Earth. Dr. Laura Bennett was pulled from her university office by government agents. As America's leading expert in theoretical alien communication, she suddenly found herself on a military helicopter heading to Washington, D.C. "What do we know about them?" she asked the agent sitting across from her. "Not much," he replied. "They're big, they're in orbit, and they're causing gravitational disturbances that are messing with our tides and weather." Laura's mind raced. She had spent her career preparing for this moment, but she never truly believed it would come. "Have they tried to communicate?" "Not yet," the agent said. "That's why they need you." On the Kaltharan mining ship, alarms suddenly began to sound. Officer Lana looked up from her control panel in surprise. "Commander, we're receiving directed transmissions from the planet's surface," she reported. "They appear to be deliberate patterns, mathematical sequences." Commander Rax frowned. This wasn't in the mission briefing. Pre-sentient species didn't send mathematical sequences into space. They didn't respond to orbital visitors at all. "Show me," he ordered. The main screen displayed a simple sequence, the first 10 prime numbers, followed by the value of pi to 10 decimal places. It was the universal greeting used throughout the galaxy by sentient species making first contact. Rax felt a cold sensation spread through his body. "Contact the High Council immediately." The Council's response came quickly. "Maintain position. Do not respond to transmissions. We are reviewing the situation." But Earth wasn't waiting for a response. More messages came in different formats: binary code, visual representations, even simple pictures showing human figures greeting the ships. "They're becoming more frequent," Lana reported. "Transmissions are coming from multiple locations on the planet now." Rax paced the bridge. This mission was supposed to be simple. Extract resources from a pre-sentient world. No complications, no moral questions, no diplomatic incidents. Now it appeared they might have made a terrible mistake. In a secure conference room, Dr. Laura Bennett worked with a team of linguists, mathematicians, and computer scientists. They had been sending messages for 6 hours with no response. "They must understand us," Laura said, frustration in her voice. "These are universal concepts. Mathematics works the same everywhere in the universe." On the large screen at the front of the room, satellite images showed the 7 alien ships, now in stable orbits around Earth. Military leaders in another room were discussing defense options, but everyone knew the truth. If these visitors wanted to attack, Earth had little chance of fighting back. "Try a different approach," suggested Alan Rogers, a quantum physicist. "Maybe they communicate in ways we don't understand." Laura nodded. "Let's try visual communication, simple animation showing peaceful intent." As they worked on new messages, reports came in from around the world. The gravitational disturbances had caused tsunamis on every coastline. Thousands were dead or missing. Weather patterns were changing rapidly, and people were scared. Outside the secure facility, crowds gathered. Some prayed, some protested, some prepared for the end of the world. News channels showed non-stop coverage of the ships. Religious leaders claimed it was Judgment Day. Scientists begged for calm and rationality. After 12 hours of silence, the Caltharan ships finally responded. A single transmission, directed to the primary broadcast centers of Earth. On screens around the world, a blue-skinned, four-eyed alien appeared. It spoke, and computers translated its strange, clicking language into human words. "We are the Caltharans," the alien said. "You are not supposed to be sentient. This creates complications." In the conference room, Laura and her team watched in stunned silence. "What does that mean?" Alan whispered. "We weren't supposed to be sentient?" Laura shook her head, a terrible understanding dawning. "They came here thinking we were just animals. They came to take something from Earth, something they didn't think they needed permission to take." On screen, the alien continued. "The Caltharan Empire acknowledges your mathematical communication. This indicates basic sentience. We must now determine your level of development before proceeding." "Proceeding with what?" Alan asked. Laura's face was grim. "I don't think we're going to like the answer to that question." Around the world, humans looked to the sky with a mixture of wonder and fear. First contact had been made, but it wasn't the joyful meeting of minds that many had imagined. Instead, it felt like being noticed by a predator that had previously thought you were too small to bother with. The Caltharans had failed to confirm humans were alive. Now they had to deal with the consequences of their mistake. 3 days had passed since the Caltharans revealed themselves. The world's governments had formed a united response team. Military forces were on high alert. Scientists worked around the clock to understand the alien technology. And Dr. Laura Bennett led the communication efforts with the visitors. "They're not telling us everything," Laura said to Colonel Hoffman. They stood in the command center, watching the main screen where the latest message from the Caltharans played on loop. The blue alien spokesperson, who called himself Ambassador Zexthra, spoke in carefully measured words. "The Caltharan Empire acknowledges Earth as a developing world. We seek only peaceful scientific exchange. Our vessels will remain in orbit to study your unique biosphere." Colonel Hoffman shook his head. "Those aren't science vessels. Our analysts say they're industrial ships, mining or harvesting equipment." Laura nodded. "They came here for something, and I don't think they're going to leave without it." On the other side of the world, in the deep waters of the Pacific Ocean, the Caltharans made their first move. Small craft detached from the main ships and descended through the atmosphere. They looked like metal squid, with long tentacle-like appendages. They plunged into the ocean near the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of Earth's oceans. Captain Olivia Martinez of the submarine USS Barracuda was on a routine patrol when her sonar operator reported strange contacts. "What do you mean, not submarines?" she asked, moving to look at the sonar screen herself. "They're moving too fast, Captain," the operator explained. "And their shape is all wrong. More like giant metal jellyfish." Martinez made a quick decision. "Take us deeper. I want to see what these things are doing." The USS Barracuda descended carefully. At 20,000 feet below the surface, in the crushing darkness, they spotted the alien devices. Bright lights illuminated the ocean floor as mechanical arms dug into the seabed. "They're mining," Martinez said quietly. "They're taking something from the ocean floor." She contacted headquarters immediately. Within hours, submarines from several nations were tracking similar alien mining operations in oceans around the world. In Washington, President Howard addressed the nation. "We have attempted peaceful communication with the Caltharan vessels. While they claim scientific purposes, their actions suggest resource extraction. I have authorized our military to monitor these activities closely. We will not allow Earth's resources to be taken without consent." The Caltharan response came quickly. Ambassador Zexithra appeared on screens worldwide. The minerals we seek are abundant on your world but rare in the galaxy. Our extraction is minimal and in areas unused by humans. We offer technological exchange for access to these resources. But trust had already been broken. The aliens had lied about their intentions. They had come to take, not to study. In a secure, underground facility, Director Paul Jackson of the newly formed Extraterrestrial Threat Assessment Division briefed world leaders. The Caltharans have technological advantages we can't match. Their ships are immune to our current weapons, but they have weaknesses. He displayed analysis of the alien mining operations. They're taking specific minerals from the ocean floor, primarily iridium and rare earth elements. They need these materials, and they're trying to avoid conflict if possible. So what do we do? Asked the British Prime Minister. We can't fight them directly. Director Jackson smiled grimly. We make Earth too expensive to harvest. Operation Hornet's Nest is already being implemented. The first phase of Operation Hornet's Nest began when Captain Martinez received new orders. The USS Barracuda was now authorized to interfere with alien mining operations, but only in ways that could appear accidental. Martinez positioned her submarine near a group of alien mining devices. Prepare to release underwater drones, she ordered. The small underwater drones looked like ordinary research equipment. They approached the alien mining devices and began emitting signals that interfered with their operation. One by one, the alien devices began to malfunction. Some stopped working. Others began to move erratically. Similar operations were happening worldwide. Chinese submarines in the South China Sea, Russian vessels in the Arctic, British submarines in the Atlantic, all seemingly conducting normal operations while secretly disrupting the alien mining. The Caltharans noticed. Their mining efficiency dropped by 40% in the first week. Ambassador Zexthra demanded a meeting with Earth's leaders. Your underwater vessels are interfering with our operations, he said, his four eyes blinking rapidly, and what Laura had learned was a sign of anger. This violates our agreement. What agreement? President Howard asked calmly. We never agreed to let you take our resources. Our vessels are conducting normal patrols in our own waters. Zexthra's skin darkened, another sign of anger. We could take what we need by force. You could, the president agreed. But at what cost? We may not have your technology, but we have other ways to fight. The alien ambassador left the meeting. Without resolution, the Caltharan High Council faced a difficult decision. They needed Earth's resources, but resistance was stronger than expected. They decided to increase their mining operations and add armed escorts to their mining devices. This escalation led to the first direct conflict. In the Indian Ocean, alien security drones attacked an Australian submarine that ventured too close to a mining operation. The submarine was disabled, its crew forced to emergency surface. The Caltharans expected this show of force to intimidate humans into submission. They were wrong. Within hours, militaries worldwide launched coordinated attacks on alien mining operations, not with advanced weapons but with simple explosives placed by Special Forces divers. Dozens of alien mining devices were destroyed before they could be protected. The Caltharans responded by targeting military vessels. Earth's navies suffered heavy losses, but they had expected this. The real operation was happening elsewhere. While the Caltharans focused on the oceans, Dr. Kevin Wright, a computer security expert, had been studying the alien transmissions. He discovered something remarkable. The Caltharan communications used predictable encryption patterns. With enough computing power, their commands could be intercepted and altered. It's not that their technology isn't advanced, Kevin explained to Director Jackson. It's that they designed it to resist attacks from equally advanced civilizations. They never expected to face our kind of primitive but creative hacking. A global network of computers began working to break into the Caltharan command systems. It was slow work, but they made progress. Small victories came first. Mining drones that received contradictory instructions and shut down. Then bigger successes. Entire mining operations brought to a halt by false emergency protocols. The Caltharans were baffled. Their technology had never been compromised like this before. They didn't understand how a less advanced species could cause such problems. Commander Rax, now in charge of security for the mining operations, reported to the High Council, "The humans are more resourceful than we anticipated. They don't attack directly where we are strong. They find weaknesses and exploit them." Council leader Vrek was not pleased. "Increase security. Bring more ships if necessary. We need those minerals." "With respect," Rax replied, "I believe we made a serious error in our assessment of this species. They are not just technically sentient. They are dangerously intelligent, in ways we didn't recognize." Meanwhile, on Earth, humans prepared for the next phase of resistance. They had caught the aliens off guard once. They would need to be even more creative for what came next. The war for Earth's resources had only just begun. 1 month into the conflict, the Caltharans changed their strategy. 3 more massive ships arrived in Earth orbit. These weren't mining vessels. They were military ships with weapons designed to end resistance quickly. Commander Rax received new orders from the High Council. Secure the mining operations at any cost. The humans must learn their place in the galactic order. Rax didn't like these orders, but he followed them. The new ships deployed hundreds of combat drones to protect the mining operations. These drones attacked any human vessel that came within 5 miles of mining sites. Navies around the world lost ships. Thousands of sailors died. The Caltharans thought this show of force would make humans surrender. Again, they were wrong. In a hidden bunker below Denver, Director Paul Jackson called an emergency meeting of the Extraterrestrial Threat Assessment Division. Representatives from 30 countries attended either in person or through secure video links. "The Caltharans have escalated," Jackson said. "We need to respond in kind." Dr. Laura Bennett stood up. In the past month, she had become Earth's leading expert on Caltharan psychology. "We can't match their technology, but we've learned something important about them. They don't understand human creativity. They don't adapt quickly to new situations. Their entire civilization is built on following established patterns." Jackson nodded. "Which is why our next move will be something they can't possibly expect." The plan was called Global Response Initiative. For the first time in history, all nations agreed to share their most advanced technology and work together. Russian stealth systems, Chinese quantum computers, American drone swarms, European space technology, all combined into one coordinated defense. Dr. Kevin Wright led a team of the world's best hackers. They had spent weeks studying Caltharan communications and found a critical weakness. The aliens used a standard communication protocol for all their systems. From the smallest mining drone to the largest warship, their entire fleet network is connected, Kevin explained. They never considered that could be a vulnerability because no species they've encountered before could break their encryption. Working day and night, the team created a virus designed specifically for Caltharan systems. They called it Trojan Horse. Getting the virus into the alien network was the hard part. It required direct access to a Caltharan device. That's where Lieutenant Amanda Reyes came in. She led a special forces team trained for the most dangerous mission yet, boarding an alien vessel. The opportunity came when a small Caltharan transport ship descended to repair a mining operation off the coast of New Zealand. Amanda's team waited underwater in advanced diving gear. When the ship hovered just above the ocean surface, they moved. Using grappling hooks fired from underwater launchers, the team latched onto the ship's hull. They climbed up quickly, found an access point, and cut through the metal with special lasers designed based on observed Caltharan technology. Inside the ship, they faced their first Caltharans in person. The aliens were tall, nearly 7 feet, with blue skin and 4 eyes. They wore no spacesuits or breathing apparatus. This was an important discovery. Amanda's team carried special weapons that fired nets rather than bullets. They captured 2 Caltharan crew members while another team member planted the virus in the ship's computer system. The entire operation took less than 10 minutes. The team escaped with their alien prisoners just before the ship's security systems detected the intrusion. As they sped away in underwater vehicles, the virus began to spread through the Caltharan network. The captured Caltharans provided another crucial discovery. When their helmets were removed, they began to struggle for breath. Earth's atmosphere was toxic to them. Their bodies couldn't process the high levels of nitrogen and oxygen. This explained why they had never attempted ground operations. Back at the command center, Kevin watched as the virus spread. "It's working better than we expected," he told Director Jackson. "The virus is replicating through their entire network. In about 6 hours, we'll have control of approximately 30% of their automated systems." Jackson allowed himself a small smile. "And they have no idea it's happening?" "None," Kevin confirmed. "The virus mimics normal system operations while giving us backdoor access. The plan worked perfectly." 6 hours later, exactly half of all Calthuran mining drones suddenly changed course. Instead of continuing their operations, they returned to the motherships at high speed. But they didn't dock properly. They crashed directly into the ship's hulls, causing significant damage. On the Calthuran command ship, chaos erupted. Alarms blared as reports of malfunctioning equipment came from every mining operation. "What's happening?" Commander Rax demanded. "We don't know," his second-in-command replied. "The drones are not responding to override commands. Our diagnostics show no system errors, but they're acting independently." Rax felt a chill. This shouldn't be possible. No species they had ever encountered could take control of Calthuran technology. "Cut all network connections between ships," he ordered. "Isolate each vessel's systems." But it was too late. The virus had already spread. And it wasn't just affecting the mining drones. Life support systems began to malfunction. Navigation systems showed false readings. Communication between ships became garbled or failed entirely. For the first time since arriving at Earth, the Calthurans felt fear. On Earth, military leaders watched with satisfaction as the alien fleet fell into disarray. But Laura Bennett warned against celebrating too soon. "They're still technologically superior," she reminded them. "Once they isolate the virus, they'll adapt their systems. We need to press our advantage now." The next phase of the plan began immediately. All around the world, conventional military forces launched coordinated attacks on the remaining mining operations. Fighter jets dropped specialized EMP bombs designed to disable alien electronics. Submarines fired new torpedoes that homed in on the unique energy signatures of Calthuran mining equipment. Without proper coordination from their command ships, the alien operations fell apart. Within 24 hours, every mining site on Earth was either destroyed or abandoned. On the Calthuran command ship, Rax made a difficult decision. He sent a message to the High Council. "Earth resistance exceeds all predictions. Our systems have been compromised in ways we cannot quickly repair. Request permission to withdraw mining operations temporarily until we can develop countermeasures." The High Council was stunned. No harvesting operation had ever been forced to retreat. This primitive planet with its primitive species was doing the impossible. After heated debate, they sent their reply. "Permission granted for strategic withdrawal. Maintain orbital presence with minimal forces. Full military response being prepared." As most of the Calthuran fleet prepared to leave Earth orbit, Commander Rax requested a meeting with human leaders. From orbit, he transmitted a message. "Your resistance has been noted. The Calthuran Empire respects strength. We will withdraw our mining operations while we reassess our approach. But know this, we will return, and next time, we will not underestimate you." Dr. Laura Bennett drafted the human response. "We are open to peaceful negotiation for fair trade of resources, but we will never accept theft or intimidation. Earth is our home and we will defend it. Your next approach will determine whether we become allies or enemies." As the main Calthuran fleet departed, leaving just 2 ships in orbit, humans around the world celebrated their first victory. But military and political leaders knew the truth. This was just the beginning. The Calthurans would return, better, prepared and with more firepower. Earth had won the first battle, but the war was far from over. 6 months passed. Earth used this time wisely. Scientists studied the captured Calthuran technology. Engineers built new weapons and defenses. Space agencies constructed orbital platforms equipped with weapons based on alien designs. Most importantly, humans learned everything they could about the Calthurans from the 2 aliens they had captured. The prisoners were kept in special chambers filled with their native atmosphere. After initial resistance, they began to communicate with Dr. Laura Bennett. "Your species is unusual," said the Caltheran named Mech, who had been a junior officer. "Most sentient races follow predictable development patterns. They build unified planetary governments before developing space travel. They establish peaceful internal relations before looking outward. You did neither." "Is that why you thought we weren't sentient?" Laura asked. Mech's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Partly. Our observers saw your constant conflicts, your divided nations, your environmental damage. These are not typical behaviors of advanced sentient species." The second prisoner, Loth, added, "We also expected you to detect our observation ships and attempt communication. When you didn't, we assumed you were unable to." Laura smiled. "We did detect you. We chose to watch quietly." Both Caltharans showed signs of surprise. This concept seemed new to them. Through these conversations, humans gained valuable insights into Caltharan society, technology, and weaknesses. They learned that the Caltharan Empire spanned hundreds of worlds but had rarely encountered significant resistance. Most planets they harvested were either uninhabited or home to primitive life forms. When they did meet other advanced species, those species usually followed familiar patterns that the Caltharans understood. Humans were different, unpredictable, creative in ways the Caltharans found difficult to comprehend. Then came the day everyone had been preparing for. Earth's new early warning system detected a massive fleet entering the solar system. 20 Caltharan warships, each larger than the mining vessels that had come before. Admiral John Blackwood stood on the bridge of the USS Independence, humanity's first true space battleship. Built using reverse-engineered Caltharan technology, it was smaller than the alien vessels but incorporated unique human innovations. "All stations report ready, Admiral," said his second-in-command. Captain Lisa Chen Blackwood nodded. "Signal the fleet. Operation Last Stand is now active." Around Earth, 6 similar ships moved into defensive positions. They were joined by hundreds of smaller craft and orbital platforms. It wasn't nearly enough to match the Caltharan fleet in direct combat, but that wasn't the plan. The Caltharan fleet took position near Mars. A transmission came through on all Earth communication channels. The face that appeared belonged to High Commander Vrektor, the highest military authority in the Caltharan Empire. "People of Earth," Vrektor said, his voice translated into all human languages. "Your resistance to our harvest operations was impressive but futile. The full might of the Caltharan Empire now stands before you. Surrender access to your resources, or face extinction." Admiral Blackwood sent the agreed-upon response. "We invite you to send representatives to discuss peaceful trade. Violence is unnecessary." High Commander Vrektor seemed amused. "There is nothing to discuss. We will take what we need. Your primitive defenses cannot stop us." The Caltharan fleet began to advance toward Earth. They moved in perfect formation, their weapon systems powering up. They expected an easy victory against a vastly outnumbered opponent. What they didn't expect was what happened next. As the alien fleet passed a specific point in space, hundreds of small devices activated. These devices had been placed there weeks earlier by human ships using stealth technology, based on Caltharan designs. The devices generated a field that disrupted faster-than-light communications. Suddenly, the perfectly coordinated Caltharan fleet couldn't communicate internally. Each ship was isolated. At that moment, Admiral Blackwood gave the order. "Execute jump." The 7 human battleships vanished from Earth orbit. They reappeared directly among the Caltharan fleet. This faster-than-light jump technology had been the most difficult alien system to reproduce, but Earth scientists had managed it. More importantly, they had improved it, making it more precise than the Caltharan version. Caught by surprise, the alien ships couldn't coordinate their defense. The human vessels unleashed weapons specifically designed to target Caltharan shield frequencies. Several alien ships suffered immediate damage, but this was still just the beginning of humanity's plan. From Earth, Dr. Kevin Wright activated the next phase. During the 6-month preparation period, his team had created thousands of autonomous drones. These weren't like normal military drones. They were tiny, about the size of insects, and powered by artificial intelligence based partly on Caltharan computing systems. Now, these micro-drones swarmed toward the alien fleet. They were too small to be targeted by the Caltharans' main weapons. They attached themselves to the hulls of the alien ships and began cutting their way inside. Once inside, they spread throughout the vessels, sabotaging critical systems. The Caltharans had never faced anything like this. Their security systems were designed to prevent hacking, not physical infiltration by devices smaller than their sensors could reliably detect. On the Caltharan command ship, High Commander Vrector watched in horror as his fleet fell into chaos. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "They are primitive." "They had no space combat capability 6 months ago." His tactical officer had no answer. The humans were not fighting according to any known warfare doctrine. They weren't trying to match the Caltharans ship for ship. Instead, they were using creative, unexpected tactics that exploited specific weaknesses. After an hour of battle, 5 Caltharan ships had been disabled. The rest were fighting off internal sabotage while trying to coordinate without proper communications. The human ships continued their hit-and-run attacks, jumping in and out of faster-than-light travel in patterns the Caltharans couldn't predict. High Commander Vrector made the hardest decision of his career. "Order a retreat. We must regroup and reassess." As the Caltharan fleet began to withdraw, Admiral Blackwood could have pressed the attack. Instead, he ordered his ships to allow the aliens to leave. "Let them go," he said. "They need to take a message back to their empire." Before the Caltharan fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed, Admiral Blackwood sent one final transmission. "The people of Earth are willing to establish peaceful relations with the Caltharan Empire. We have no desire for war. But if you return, as enemies, you will find us even better prepared than today." 3 weeks later, a single Caltharan ship returned to Earth orbit. This time, it was a diplomatic vessel. Ambassador Zexthra, the same Caltharan who had first observed Earth years earlier, requested permission to land and begin formal negotiations. In a grand hall in Geneva, representatives from all Earth nations met with the Caltharan delegation. Ambassador Zexthra began with words that would be recorded in human history books for generations to come. "On behalf of the Caltharan Empire, I offer our formal apology. We failed to recognize your true nature. We judged you by our standards and found you lacking. We now understand this was our greatest error. Your species thinks differently than any we have encountered before. This difference is not inferiority. It is perhaps your greatest strength." The Galactic Treaty signed that day established Earth as a sovereign world with full rights. The Caltharans would be allowed to mine specific resources under strict oversight and fair payment. In exchange, they would share certain technologies and help introduce humanity to the wider galactic community. As Ambassador Zexthra prepared to depart, Dr. Laura Bennett asked him one final question. "What will you tell other species about humans?" Zexithra's 4 eyes focused on her. "We will tell them what we have learned at great cost. Never assume that a species that acts differently is less intelligent, and never ever underestimate the creatures of Earth.